Essentially, I've got 3 points to make. The first one, I suppose unashamedly, is to consider what I believe is wrong with the present system. The second one is to tell you why I believe that a mayoral system is preferable. And then thirdly, I want to sort of put that together with what I think is the business perspective. But I wonder if I could just start with a comment about democracy, because whether a mayoral system is anti-democratic, whether an elected member system is more democratic, I'll leave to the academics really. What I would say is that if you look at a simple definition of democracy, I think it is government by the people. I'm sure academics probably make 600 pages on it and occasionally sell the odd book, but that's I think what it is. And respectfully, I don't think the issue is about our democratic system. It's how we exercise and make that democratic system best work. And I say that the present system is undemocratic. I actually think it probably stinks a bit, really. I think it's not effective. I think there's never been a bigger disconnect between the populace, the business community, civic society, use whatever word you want, and our political masters. I feel it in my bones. I hear it when I talk to people. It's not helped by scandal at Westminster, and it's one reason I'm delighted to share a platform with a very honourable member, but nobody can deny that our view of politics hasn't been badly impacted upon by what's happened centrally. We can't avoid it, and I think it will be years in the undoing. I think we then have to remind ourselves, in the present system, that people in significant numbers don't really seem terribly interested. I'm not going to ask you what the average turnout is at elections in recent years, because there are a few politicians here and they'll know to the decimal point, but it's about a third of the population. But if you look at the last election in this city, the turnout was actually about 15%, and the member who was elected received about 5% of the votes. It's a ward of around 15,000 people. So 750 votes elected that ward councillor to make decisions. From what I understand, 750 people is about half that we saw on the streets of Leicester at the weekend. So imagine, and I don't think all the people from EDL live in Castle Ward, but imagine how easy it really is to manipulate with only needing that level of votes. And I respectfully suggest that when we get to those sorts of figures, we are in a dire mess, and you can tell me about democracy till the cows come home. The present system is, of course, party-orientated. I don't know how whips work, but I understand that if you're told how to vote, that's how you vote. If that's democracy, and I don't suppose it works all the time, and I'm sure there are people who are very strong-minded. I'm looking at some of them here. I've done business with them in other places, and I know they're strong-minded. But that political pressure must always be on them, and that political pressure must make decisions that otherwise are not the right decisions. So I say the present system's actually about as undemocratic as you could get. It hasn't got the free will of elected members at all. It's a myth, it's a con. So let's be positive, because I didn't want to accentuate the negative. What's better about a mayoral system? Well, of course, the devil might be in the detail. And I read only today that the government minister responsible is telling Leeds and Wakefield that their elected leader will be the mayor, and that decision will then be put to scrutiny after it's been made. I've not been able to see whether that's right or not, but if the devil is in that detail, I don't like it. But if we have a system like the London model, where the mayor and his team, and I'll come back to that shortly, has power over the skills agenda, the education agenda, the regeneration agenda, then I think we've got a proper system. And my understanding is that that's looking as though it might shape in that way. And of course, it would be much less party political, because I don't know if coalition's a modern word, I suspect it's not, I bet the Greeks did it first, but the reality is that my vision is of a cabinet of all the talents. Yes, you've got to have representation along voting lines to a degree, but I doubt respectfully that the Leicester Labour parties have all the talent within the City Council. I've got a feeling that friends here would say, of course we have. I'm looking at Roy nodding, sagely. But I doubt that's the case. So a mayoral system, as I understand it, gives a real opportunity for a coalition of the talents. It drills down further, as I understand it. It actually allows, through perhaps a committee system, and I'm looking at Peter, who's more knowledgeable than I am, to involve the wider community in advising and in the decision-making process. And I saw something only today that struck me. It's from an organisation called the New Local Government Network. They said this: if we're ever to see a renaissance of civic involvement, we need everyone to have the chance to identify with somebody in a position of power. And that leads me to my major point. We must re-engage the business community in this city in the political decision-making. I don't know why, but I've been here forever, but over the last 30 or 40 years, the business community has gone missing on decision-making, on political decisions. I don't know why. I could guess that isn't for here. Business needs to have an input into our political life, and I think the mayoral system is the obvious way. We need the profit and loss mentality. Officers may have it. We need a public service that has the checks and balances of the profit and loss mentality. And business leaders need to re-engage. It's happening to a degree through the chamber. People like Martin have done wonderful work, but I think we only scratch the surface. And if I could just finish with the words of Hazel Blears, quite a small version of me in a way really, but she was a woman. She said this about 18 months ago: I've been personally impressed with local mayors who offer a form of leadership that's clear, accountable and visible, and can balance competing priorities and take tough decisions in the community's wider interests. That's why I'm in favour of an elected mayor. Thank you.